Anybody can say, I miss you. But what happens after that? Do you simply place the feeling in my lap and wait for me to organize it? Or have you already considered the flight, the timing, the reservation, the transportation, the weather, and what I might need in order to feel safe enough to say yes? Because the itinerary is never really about travel. It's about whether you know how to think beyond yourself. There is something deeply seductive about being anticipated. Not controlled, not managed, anticipated. It is the feeling of realizing that another person did not merely imagine your presence, they considered what your presence would require. They thought about when you would arrive, how you would get there, whether you would be tired, what you would like to eat, what might make you feel most comfortable. What would allow your nervous system to soften rather than remain alert, solving problems someone else could have prevented? That is what I mean when I ask, can you handle the itinerary? I'm not asking whether you can name beautiful destinations. Anyone can say, let's go to Greece, let's go to Zanzibar. We should disappear for a weekend. Fantasy is inexpensive. It requires no calendar, no reservation, and no follow-through. An itinerary is different. An itinerary says, I listened, I remembered, I thought ahead. I considered you before you entered the room. Perhaps that is why the image of someone saying, I packed your bags, baby, let's go, carries so much emotional weight. It's not merely the spontaneity, it's the implication that someone knows you well enough to understand what belongs in the bag. They know what you will need. They did not create an adventure that immediately became your responsibility to manage. The itinerary is not a demand for perfection. It's not about requiring someone to predict every possible inconvenience. It's about initiative. It's about a person who can say, I miss you, I need to see you, and then finish the sentence with a plan. Not a vague suggestion, not an emotional assignment, a plan. Because there is a particular exhaustion that comes from being desired by people who still expect you to engineer every encounter. They want your presence, but they want you to determine how it happens. They want intimacy, but you must establish the conditions. They want the destination, but you must build the road. Eventually, you begin to ask whether they truly want a life with you or whether they prefer the fantasy of you, because fantasy asks nothing of them. A person can think about you for years and still be unprepared to meet you in reality. They can miss you, remember you, idolize you, even believe that they love you. But love eventually enters the material world. It becomes time, movement, decisions, reservations, protection, consideration. It becomes a hand at the small of your back in an unfamiliar room. It becomes someone noticing that you're overwhelmed before you have to announce it. It becomes a plan sturdy enough that you do not have to carry both your luggage and the entire experience. The itinerary is simply where intention becomes visible. And perhaps that is the real hunger beneath the question. Not a hunger for luxury, not even a hunger for travel. A hunger to be with someone whose care has structure. Someone who does not merely want access to your softness, but understands what is required to make softness possible. Someone who knows that safety can be sensual, preparation can be romantic, and being thoughtfully considered can make a woman feel more desired than 1,000 beautiful declarations. So, can you handle the itinerary? Can you think beyond the invitation? Can you anticipate another person without erasing her autonomy? Can you create an experience rather than hand her another collection of decisions? Because I can arrange a trip. I can reserve the room, select the flight, find my way through an unfamiliar city. The question is not whether I am capable. The question is whether, beside you, will I always have to be?